Hey, man.
Mr. Bender, how are you, sir?
I'm awesome. How are you? Great to see you.
And to you. What's going on?
Just sitting back doing what I do best, which is nothing.
Hey, man, thanks for making time for us. Welcome to the show. We've got a big audience for you. I'll give you a quick introduction for these guys over here that are skeet shooters, some that aren't. This is the legendary Todd Bender. Todd was the first ever master instructor by the NSSA. He holds over 24 world titles. He also, at the time, whether he still does or not, held the record of a 99.72 average over 5,750 targets, which is quite obscene. We'll get to how you did that later on. I've also got the records here on the 400s, 500s, which we'll get into a little later. So, Todd, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you so much for doing this, Ben. And thank you for having me.
No, man, we're all excited. So talk us through your career from the beginning for a little minute. So I know you started at 11, and I've just been watching an interview on you when you talk highly of your time at Trinity University under there. So give us a little speedy background up to your present day.
Wow, that's a long background. So I started shooting in California with my dad when I was young, 11, about this big, and I became the top junior shooter in the country in about 6 or 7 years, and went to college on scholarship to an amazing university, Trinity University, which had the best program for shooting and the best technical coach, I think, in the United States. Not only at that time, but ever. And so it was a great 4 years. And then I got out of school. I was a business major. And I took just enough accounting classes to know that I didn't want to do that for the rest of my life. So I started shooting. I've been shooting well. And then started coaching. And here I am 35 years later talking to you.
And it's been what you can certainly call an illustrious career.
Well, thank you.
So let's talk through some of these accolades, and then the questions will come from the floor here. Everyone's going to have thousands of questions. Some of them I've already got. So you became the first ever master instructor. That's pretty special.
Yeah, the NSSA started their instructor program, I don't even know now. I'm going to say back in the 90s, early 2000s. And they asked us to kind of help develop that, which we did. And for doing that, they've got a number of classes, like the class system and everything.
Yeah. For
sporting, ski, whatever. And they created a class system, and for the help we gave them, they gave me the first master instructor, probably because I had to. So.
But we'll get into your coaching a little later, if that's okay. I want to talk to Todd Bender, the competitor. That's the guy that I flew around the world to come and watch compete at a world skeet to see if I could learn anything. And we all know we're certainly not going to get through it in an hour, but we'll do our best. So as a competitor, Todd, your record, there's two people that stand out in the world of skeet, and that's you and the late, great Wayne Mays. The two of yours records simply just, when you look at them, it looks like for 30 years nobody else shot.
I wouldn't say that.
It looks like there was only two of you there, and you're just like, heads or tails, you can have it this year and I'll have it next year. So if you could just, for the people that don't understand NASA skeet or NSSA skeet, could you explain how the World Championships work?
Well, it probably is as different from other disciplines. The NSSA World Championships is open, so there's no qualification. You pay your money and you play.
Yeah.
And that's about all I can tell you.
But what about the events? There's different events, isn't there? There's 4, 10, there's 20, there's doubles.
Yeah, like like in NSSA Skeet, there's all the events. So every year there's, excuse my math, but probably 7 open world championships up for grabs.
Yeah.
Because of the gauges, 4, 10, 28, 20, and 12.
Yeah.
Doubles, and the high roll, obviously. And that's pretty much the way it works. So you can win a world. We have an opportunity. I work with Lanny Basham. I'm sure you're familiar with him.
Yeah.
We've had a great 10 or 12 years together. As being an Olympic gold medalist, he works on the mental side, and he always complains about swimmers because swimmers can get to the Olympics, have a chance to win 18 gold medals.
Yeah.
And rifle shooters only had a chance to win 1.
Yeah, correct. You know, they talk about Michael.
We're kind of in the middle. You can gather 7 world championships in a week, which is quite hard to do, if not impossible. Probably never been done. So I've got actually 26 now, and that's over decades. Yeah. And you win multiples during the year.
But what I was reading earlier on, was it 2007, 2008, 2009 you did something pretty special?
Yeah, I'm pretty proud of that. Of all the stuff I've done, that's probably the most important. So there's 550 targets at the World Championships, 100 in the 410, 100 in the 28, 20, and then 250 12-gauge targets for a total of 550 for the World Championship, for the high overall World Championship. And no one has ever done that back-to-back. There's only a handful of people who've broken 550s. And in those special years, I was fortunate enough to break 3 in a row.
Yeah, so 2007 you shot 550, 2008 550, and 2009 550. I mean, so you went impeccable for 3 years at a world championship.
That's correct.
Yeah, that's
misfit youth.
that's crazy. Now, obviously, I research everybody to the best of my ability before we do these interviews, but what we do tend to find out is that the internet can also be a little low on numbers. So the numbers that I've got for your career, please correct me if I'm wrong. 650 by 650. So instead of 550, I've got you down. Yeah, so I've got you down as 2 650 by 650s.
That's correct.
So 2 times Todd shot 650 straight. I've got you down for the 550s. I've got you 3 at the Worlds plus 1 more, 4 550s.
That's correct.
The 500 by 500, I've got you down for 9.
Yeah, probably. I don't know.
Now, this one is serious. This is a serious one. So 400 by 400. So 400 straight. I've got you down for over 40.
I'm at 40 now.
40.
And that really is the big one. So that's I'm most proud of that.
So 40 times.
We'll get to it at some point during this hour, I hope. I actually have a good story about that. So
let's do it. Dude, that career is simply incredible. So now you guys have a background on Todd. So we've got questions flying in. What gun do you shoot?
I shoot a Krieghoff. I've been with Krieghoff for 35 years, and they came to me, so I'm very fortunate that I shoot the best piece of equipment that there is out there. Super. And they've been great to me over the years, and hopefully I've been good to them.
Yeah, I don't think they've got any complaints, dude.
Exactly.
You also came over here, and if I remember correctly, I think it was at Bisley, and you won our British Championship.
Yeah, I did.
But
that's one of my favorites too. The fact that I went and did that.
So
that was cool.
But didn't you do it with a 20 gauge?
I did. Look, you're a shotgun shooter. You know as well as I do. So at the time, I was shooting 20 gauge for the 12 gauge event. Which for recoils we shoot a lot in American Skeet with shoot-offs and everything. So I had more confidence in my 20 gauge I was shooting at the time. And as you well know better than I do, it really doesn't matter how much shot you throw; it's where you put it.
Yeah, but it just sounds good. I came to England. I shot a 20. I shot a 20, and I beat them all. it just sounds better.
It does. Thank you.
The same questions come in a lot of times already. What chokes do you shoot skeet with, Todd?
I tend to, the numbers that they put on the chokes show you what the constriction is.
Yeah, doesn't tell you what you
They
put.
don't show you what the choke does.
Yeah.
And especially in American skeet, because we're so close, patterning is a big part of it.
Yeah.
I tend to be a little tighter than most, mainly for confidence, because I need to know that I'm in the middle of the target and I'm placing the shot right.
Yeah.
I don't like open chokes. There's some guys who shoot open chokes because they just want more spread, right? They want to be able to hit anything, and I need to know where I'm at. And when I'm in the center, I want to have the confidence I'm in the center. And when I'm in a shoot off and I'm in the center, I want you to know it too. I tend to be a little tighter than most, but probably I guess the average number is about 8 thousandths. Where a normal ski choke is 5 thousandths.
Yeah.
Improved cylinder is 10 thousandths, and I tend to, in all gauges, kind of hang around the 8 thousandths range.
Superb. Let's get a little bit into your unique style. So I've been doing. Everyone knows about your unique stance. How did you end up so far forward?
Well, that's actually a great question. Number one, if you go back to the greats in our discipline, the greats in our sport, Kenny Barnes, who broke the first 400 back in 1967 from California, he was an idol of mine as a kid. So I shot as he did. Even Alex Kerr, past president, one of the greats in our sport, shot the same way. And I didn't know that until Kenny told me that recently. I stay really good friends with Kenny. It kind of came because he was my idol. But more importantly, especially in skeet, because it's all crossing targets and it's all about clean rotation. I mean, it's about really good form, and it comes from the legs. And the more you bend your legs, the better turn you have. When you stand up straighter, which is an accepted form for most sporting shooters, but that's different because they're mounting the gun, there's a lot of upper body movement. But with an American skeet, the gun's pre-mounted, so all the movement should come from your legs. So the more forward I get, the more deep down I get in my stance, I tend to turn better. Which is the whole game.
I saw one of your good sayings was eyes and thighs.
Yeah, that actually came from a student of mine about 20 years ago, and that's the key to American skiing. It's good form. Well, really, any discipline, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's good form and having your eyes on the target. In American ski, that applies to losing your legs more. But in any shotgun discipline, it's about looking at the target and having hard focus, not just seeing it, but having hard focus on it. So that's where that comes from.
Eyes and thighs. You got to see it and move from your quadriceps. There you go.
Absolutely.
There you go. We're in there. We're getting deep.
You've done your research. Holy crap.
Oh man, I like to be prepared. We've had some great shooters on, and if they're going to give up their time, I think I can give up mine to make the interview as good as we can for the people viewing it. So, we've got some good ones for you coming up yet. Don't worry. Right, tell us a story about the 400 by 400.
Which one?
The one you just said you had a good story about.
I think it's funny. So I shot with Wayne Mays for, 25 years. And he's really, besides my coach at Trinity, who gave me the technical foundation, when I graduated college, by chance he asked me. I shot with Wayne Mays, and I shot with him for 25 years. We were best friends. So we had a great friendship, but we also had some friendly rivalries. And for years, he had the most 400s in the sport. I'm talking back. So I've got 40 now. I'm talking back when we were in the 20s.
Yeah.
That I get close to him, I'd break like 2, and I'd be 1 away, and he'd break 3 more. Shit. And so we did this for years, that I'd get close, and he'd vault ahead of me. Wayne has the most hundreds in the 410, which is incredible. He has 200.
200 straights with a 410.
Which is unbelievable, right? And for years, Wayne would look at me and say, "Hey, T-Bird, you need to add up your hundreds in the 410." And I would never do it because I knew that he wanted me to just know how far behind him I was. I'm like 160 or something, right? But I never did it, right? So he asked me that every 6 months. "Hey, T-Bird, you need to add up your hundreds in the 410." Like, yeah, I'll get to it. So I finally passed him. He ended up with 36 400s, and I passed him at 37. And a couple of months after that, he said, "Hey, T-Bird, as usual, you need to add up your hundreds in the 410. And I looked at him and I said, "Well, I remember 37 of them." He never asked me that question again.
I remember the 37 that took me past you. But Wayne was a hero, eh? He was a superstar.
He was. I've met you. I've met some of, because I was on the U.S. team. I was international, so I knew Matt Drake, who was a really good friend of mine. I've been exposed, fortunately, to some of the best shotgun shooters on the planet, and he was, without a doubt, the best shotgun point I've ever seen. And it wasn't just his physical ability, which was. I'm not a fan of natural abilities. I know he worked for it, and most people do. But he had this natural physical ability. But what made him a great champion was his mind.
Yeah.
He had this mental approach to things. And I will promise you, the reason I'm talking to you right now is because of my 25 years of Wayne. He had the mind of a champion, and he was the best shotgun point I've ever seen in my life.
Just why we're talking about Wayne a minute. There's a year where you were co-champions. Is that correct?
Yeah, it was. You mentioned the 3 550s I had in a row, and the second one, I think that was 08. Wayne and I, of course, we shot 2-man team, and we both broke 550 at the World Shoot, which doesn't happen much. The fact that few people break 550, but the fact that there were 2 guys that broke 550 was unbelievable. And we decided, because we were best friends for so long, we split everything we made. All the money didn't matter. We split it throughout the whole season.
Yeah. So
Wayne would have a good shoot and win $6,000. And I would be mediocre and make maybe 1, and we split it. We made $3,500 a piece. That was our friend.
Yeah.
So we decided at the World Championships, when we broke the 550s, that we wouldn't shoot off against each other. We wouldn't do it. We wanted to be co-champions.
Wow.
That would have never happened. And because of something that happened, a long shoot-off back in the 60s or 70s, the NSSA actually had a rule that you could not have co-champs. It must be shot off. So we refused to show up the shoot-off. And that's actually a story in itself. Well, I'll tell you the story since I guess we have time. So we refused to shoot off against each other. Best friends, and we wanted to be named co-champions. And we told out the NSSA, and they said, "Nope, not going to happen. You guys are shooting off." So they called the shoot-off, and you can't have a shoot-off if no one shows up. So we didn't show up. And of course, they probably knew that was going to happen.
Yeah.
So they said, "All right, here's what they've decided. This is what they're doing. We have to have a champion. So we're going to flip a coin." So this is actually famous. They had a coin toss, and you've been to San Antonio. You know the stadium fields.
Yeah.
All the shoot-offs are done. So they flipped a coin, and here's the best part: it landed in the grass on its edge. Right? So I'm like, "Thank you, God. Yep, yes, right." And they flipped it again, and it bounced off the concrete and landed on the grass on its edge. I'm like, There you go, you bastards. That's the answer. And they finally flipped it again, and I won the coin toss. But, Wayne died 6 years ago, and I kept at him. And I said, look, you need to right this wrong. So they have listed it. They've listed us as co-champions for that year.
Oh, beautiful.
Pretty special to me.
Yeah.
Wayne was special to me.
Yeah, beautiful. I've got a couple of questions to lighten the mood a bit. Now, these have been sent in from people that know you. I don't know the answers, so I hope you're going to enlighten us. Talk to me I don't even understand what it means or what it means to you. Car hopping.
Say that again.
Car hopping.
Oh my God. Well, that goes back about 20 or 30 years. We were, how should I put this? This is a family show, right? Back in the 80s, I hung out with a group of people, some of the best in the sport. Robert Paxton, Al Magyar.
Yeah, I know Robert.
And we had fun. And, wow, I can't believe that. Holy shit, really? And we had a thing for a year or two that we called them car runs, actually hood runs. And we would take the rent car and we would start from the front bumper in arms, grouped up, and actually run over the car from the hood to the top of the car to the trunk. And we did hood runs. It was almost like the Dolphin show in SeaWorld.
Yeah.
So played at 2, 4, and 6. And you could see the Blues Brothers do the hood runs. So
there you go. That's what car hopping means.
Yeah, absolutely. Who came up with that one? Holy crap.
I'll tell you later. It also comes to my attention that you are a bit of an artist.
Well, I was until shooting kind of dominated my time. When I was in college, I minored in art, and I'm a watercolorist. And because of my interest, I did wildlife art because I shot a lot of ducks. I know ducks.
Yeah.
So I did that. And actually, the big thing for wildlife artists in the country, in the U.S., is the federal duck stamp competition.
Yep.
And it's an open competition. They probably get 2,000 entries each year. And the guy who wins, it's like the lottery. I mean, it's worth millions because just the repercussions.
Yeah.
So I made the finals in 2 years.
Oh, wow.
So I was pretty good, and some people were upset at me because I didn't continue on. And I would love to continue on with that, but shooting and coaching has dominated my time for the last 30 years, so I've gotten away from that.
Brilliant. Multi-talented. So let's get into the career. Let's get into the nuts and crannies, because there's people on here want to use your advice to improve. And I know you're, along with Lanny Basham, you're very, very big on the mental game. And you also, if I'm not mistaken, I remember you telling me personally about this, you do a lot of work with the Navy SEALs as well.
I do, yeah. So I've been with Lanny Basham for, 12 years now. He actually came to me, and when I first started working with him, he looked at me and said, look, you already do 80% of this stuff, but because you could not have done what you've done in your career for the last 30 years without doing most of this.
Yeah.
And he was right. What he gave me was the last 20%. And it's interesting, at least to me, that when I first met him 12 years ago, I had 13 world championships, which is pretty good for anybody.
Yeah, you take it.
Few people may win one,
yeah,
and to win multiples is a big deal. So I had 13. For my 30-year career up to that point, I've won 13 world championships. After I started working with Lanny, that number's 26 now.
Yeah.
So it's doubled in 12 years. And what he's done for me is amazing. What he's really done for me is made my coaching better.
Yep.
Because now I know how to, I've always been good at communicating with people, but I know how to communicate with people better. I know what that guy's thinking. I know how to deal with it. So I'm a 10 times better coach. So his work with me has been just amazing. The SEAL teams is a special deal for me. And I work with the elite of the elite, which is SEAL Team 6. And they actually came to me. I've been doing that for 12 years now. And it's not just R&R. That particular team tries to be the best that they can be no matter what, as they are. And they're the only entity, military entity that I know of that goes outside. So they don't just stick to military stuff. So I'm an outside contractor with that team. Whether it's riding motorcycles or jumping on airplanes, they have outside contractors. They find the best there is, and go and they train with them. So they brought me in about 10 or 12 years ago, and I've worked with them. And I've heard some stories, which I'll keep to myself. But it's not just R&R. I've actually been helpful to them because they're just trying to be the best no matter what. So I'm their moving target coach.
Superb.
And teach them moving target skills, which you could do or I could do, but they find it valuable.
Superb. On your skill set, on your world championships, I really want to get into your mind now. We all know you're a superstar. We all know you and Michael Diamond said it the best. I'd never heard it before. That there's no accidental champions. You don't become a world champion by accident.
Absolutely.
How much of your world titles would you attest ability, and how much would you say is your mental strength? What's the percentage split?
You didn't tell me this was going to be hard questions. Wow, I've never even thought about that.
You can win one on ability, but I don't believe you can win two. You can
win it on having a good day.
Yeah.
With the NSSA, you can break 100 straight and have an awesome day and win the double shoot off, and that's it.
Yeah.
Those are the guys who win one. So thank you for that. I'd say most of it's not 90%, because it's the mindset of doing it, and because of what I know with Lanny, I could talk for 2 hours on that. But it's more mental toughness and not being dragged from one way or another off your north, your center point. But just doing what you do. And not worrying about what other people think, not worrying about the championship, but just worrying about executing and doing what you know how to do well. And that takes mental toughness. Because all the extraneous stuff that goes on.
One thing, me and you sat talking in the San Antonio car park over a beer and a cigar, and we were talking about missing, because that's why
that was more than one beer, by the
way. that's why I flew to San Antonio, was to get into your mindset. And because when I go to a world championships, I don't know if I need 196 or 176. You don't know, because the sporting's so up and down.
Absolutely.
When you go, you know you got to break them all. If you're going to come away with something, you got to hit them all. So I want to get into that mindset. But before I do that, I remember you telling me a quote that I think you said came from Wayne. And I found it really helped me in my sporting shooting as well, was that all of the long runs start with a miss.
Absolutely.
And so, so what that means, guys, is that Todd and Wayne, they try and hit as many as they can for as long as they can until they miss. But instead of that miss being a disappointment, what it is, okay, well, now my next run starts. Is that correct, Todd?
That in itself, maybe the best, and I can tell you 1,000 Wayne quotes, but that in itself may be the most important Wayne quote there is. And that's the mindset, which is not easy to get to say, okay, and that's what Lanny's done for me a little bit, and that's kind of what his program's about. Maybe you missed the last target. That has no bearing on the next target.
Yeah.
That you just need to keep pushing, keep pounding the rock. I saw something last week that I thought was very great. The San Antonio Spurs.
Yeah.
The NBA, our NBA, the National Basketball Association. The Spurs dominated the sport for a number of years because of great coaching and great players. And they had a sign that hung in their locker room that said, keep pounding the rock.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And that meant that you could pound the rock 1,000 times, you could pound the rock 2,000 times, and that crack will never appear, but it might be the next pound.
Yeah, yeah,
The next hit,
yeah, yeah.
it might appear. So you just keep at it. You keep pounding the rock, and that, especially American skeet, our discipline's kind of different because, again, like you just mentioned in sporting, there's so many variables, and God only knows what the sport's going to take. Not in American skeet, you know you need to be perfect.
Yeah.
But if you set out to try to be perfect, you're screwed. So you just keep doing what you do, keep executing the way you know how, and you keep pounding the rock. And as long as you keep everything straight, you'll get what you want.
But if I go into station 1 and I miss one, the shoot's not over. You go into station 1 knowing that you can't. Did it, or have you fixed it, or did it never create anxiety or fear? I love the word fear in shooting. I think fear creates a lot of misses.
Absolutely.
And how did you learn to go to that station and say, you know what, if I do what I do, I'll hit 100. The only thing that can get in the way here is me. How did you compound that though? How did you get to that mindset where you can just let it go?
Well, easier said than done. But I think it's a mindset,
Yeah.
and I think it's something that you have to have no matter what happens. And it's got to be internal. And I could tell you, one comes to mind. I saw a tournament in Canada. In fact, I'm pretty proud. So I went to England. I won the English Open first time.
I've won that, by the way.
Have you?
Yep.
You're kidding. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm on the trophy, 188 straight.
Awesome. Congratulations. From the two guys who don't belong, right? So I went to Canada, and I won the Canadian. I went to New Zealand. I won the New Zealand Nationals. I won the Australian Nationals. Anyway, getting back to your question, the one time I won the Canadian, I missed in the first round of the 12 gauge, and that's a story in itself. So I break a 99. I'm like, damn it! And I can't tell you how many times it's happened to me in tournaments that I broke a 99 in the 12 gauge, which was that's the gimme, right? That's the one you need. And then I've run the next 300 straight. So it's a lot of it's experience.
Yeah.
And I've been through so much. I know that, okay, yeah, I've screwed up before right at the start. But if I just keep it together and do what I'm supposed to do, everything will be okay.
And that leads me into my next question, which we touched on in San Antonio, and I just watched a video. And if you guys get time later on, watch this video on YouTube. Just put Todd Bender managing a miss, I think it's called. What you said was, which was highly important, you can't alter your top scores, but you can manage your low scores.
Well, I learned that from that goes back to my college days. My coach in college, I was sitting in his office one day, and he looked at me, and he said, Bender, he said, don't worry about the high scores. Take care of your low scores, because if you manage your low scores, the high scores will come. Which means don't let it be a train wreck.
Yeah, 99 is not going to hurt you.
Yeah, if you miss a target, so what? It's going to happen. It's going to happen to all of us, right? But what you can control is not letting it turn into a train wreck.
Yeah.
And for many years, I've looked at my average card, like average scores, and at the end of the year, it's not the 99s that hurt. It was the other scores.
Yeah.
It was the 97s and 96s. So if you control the low scores, the high scores will come. You're going to get what you want.
And I say that in my sporting, when I'm teaching sporting shooters, I say to them, look, you're coming to a lesson today. I'm not going to turn your 85 to a 90. I'm going to turn your 75 into an 80.
Boy, that is gold. What a great statement. Absolutely.
You know, and by turning your 75 to an 80, down the line, your 85 will become 87 just by simple this pushing this. That's my thought.
You nailed it, my friend. And I'm going to steal that shit, by the way. That's awesome. Because it's true.
That's my goal. You know, that's how I train anyway. But someone's just asked a couple of questions on the floor here, Todd. With your moving target training with the SEALs, is that shotguns or other firearms?
No, that's they're shooting 1100s.
Yeah.
They've got some cool equipment.
Yeah. stuff that's a little overpowered for a skeet range.
Yeah, but so we're shooting normal equipment, 1100s, this and that.
Yeah.
What we're working on is the skill set.
Yeah.
Of, you know, how do you control that gun? How do you control your eyes?
Yeah.
How do you move with a moving target? How do you control that? So the equipment really doesn't matter.
Throughout the interviews with Ben, different champions have spoken many different ways of their practicing and training regimes. Can you talk us through a training day with yourself?
I can. I did eat. Was going to do it today, but it was raining. And I'm a pussy, so. It's not as much my training regime. I think it's how it's different, and I've gotten this from Lanny. My training regime is not really based on what I do on the day, but it's what I do for the whole training period. So I've got 3 months. I've had 3 months, starting in January. My season's about to start. And I segment my training into different phases. So I'm working on different things. Now I'm in the competition phase. Again, it'll take me an hour to talk about this or explain it. But I'm using structure in my training. So what I'm doing on a specific day is based on what phase I'm in. So I start in the first phase, where we call it evaluation phase. I'm figuring out, okay, this is what I'm going to do. What am I going to change in my game? Then the second phase, I go to the conditioning phase, which I just came out of, by the way, which is when I'm just shooting. Okay, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I've chosen in the evaluation phase. Now I'm going to condition this. I'm going to beat it in. I'm done. Beat, do it. And I've just come out of that. Now I'm in the competition phase, where now I'm going to trust what I've mastered. I'm going to trust what I've worked on the conditioning phase, because I'm about to get into competition. So my daily regime is really not that big of a deal. I could get into it. I start out with some what I call field targets, building confidence, and then I start working on what I want to work on, and then I start powering down, because you're always going to remember the last thing that happened to you in a training phase.
Well, that's what I want to get into next, because you're very much.
Your last round. Oh, go ahead.
Now I'm going to say you're very much like me, though. You're very much like me. Is that where you missed is irrelevant. It's why. Process, not outcome.
Absolutely, and that's what I'm working on. That's what I'm working on daily, which has this higher structure of what I'm doing that day for what reason, because I'm in that phase.
Yeah.
And a missed target. I've just this just happened last year. I look at missed targets in my mind. I don't even call them missed targets anymore. They're learning opportunities. I've got an opportunity to learn something here.
Yeah.
What did I do wrong, and how can I make it better? If I don't address that, then it's just going to keep happening. So I'm actually thankful when I miss a target now, because I'm like, okay, what just happened? What can I learn from this? How can this make me better?
Yeah.
And because of that attitude, I tend to get better.
And that's the champion mindset. You know, you get I get people come to me. You know, I've been having lessons, and you know, my coach has told me that all my misses are coming from lifting my head. Like, okay, that's great. That's useless information. Let's go back. Yeah, let's go back down the process. What's causing it?
Absolutely.
You know, it's crazy, the bullshit information.
You know, for me, 95% of the time, I've always known this, but now I'm really learning it this year, is that if you backstep like you're talking about, it's going to be a mental error.
Yeah.
There was a mental error in your planning. The execution didn't come off, not because you just didn't do it, but because there was an error, there was a mental error in your preparation.
What's the biggest compounding fault that you see in your students? If you could pick one thing on a skeet field, what causes the most misses? If it's take the mental game away, what's the technical attribute that causes a miss?
Well, it's all kind of intertwined, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I will say, especially for skeet, I was thinking about this earlier before we talked, trying to figure out what you're going to do to me. And if you think about shotgun shooting and all the disciplines, the whole key is looking at the target, having hard focus on the target. So I would say that a majority, 80, 90%, I mean, you can lift your head, you can make a physical mistake, whatever, but 90% of the mistakes are visual mistakes.
Oh.
That you didn't have hard focus on the target. And again, I can get into that for forever, talking about how to do that and this and that. But it's not having visual focus. But like we just talked about, that can come from a mental error before.
Yeah.
You were focused on something. You were thinking about something else. You were thinking about keeping your head down.
Yeah.
And because you were thinking about keeping your head down, you didn't look at the damn target.
Yeah. What, where, on a skeet field, where should your eyes be when you call pull?
Well, that's a really good question. But that is dependent on each particular shot, given the angle and also given the background. So my eye position changes, and that if you boil it down to one thing, each particular shot on a skeet field is based on those two things: angle, target presentation, and background. That means that even though high 4 and low 4 are mathematically the same shot, I look in different places because of background.
Yeah.
Because the low house is always going to have background. So I tend to look in closer. So eye position is hugely important.
Yeah.
What we just talked about. Just seeing the damn thing. And that, in my coaching, in my time, that tends to be pretty similar. That I tend to teach what I do. Because what I do, I think it's right.
It works.
Well, I've screwed up enough to know, the other crap doesn't work, right? But you can't just have a blanket statement and say, well, on skeet field, you look here every time in a shot.
Yeah.
Because every shot's different.
But are you happy to accept that your eyes, your muscles, and can get synchronized inside of the flash, then you see a flying object, then you take the shot?
Absolutely.
Because, I mean, I've been watching a lot of coaches online over these last 50 days of doing these interviews. I've researched everybody I've interviewed. And some people are saying,
I've learned a lot.
I've learned a lot of bullshit. I know that.
Well, yeah, I was just going to say, I bet you thought, wow.
Yeah. Because for all the champions that I've researched, you see a common denominator in that there's things that they do the same. And when I see these other coaches that pop up and they're like, no, your eyes are too far back, you're seeing a flash, you need to look further out. I'm like, no, I can. My system can work with that.
Keep going, absolutely. But it's individual, so you're looking in the right spot. Actually, looking further out on a skeet field, now we're talking about skeet, tends to be not the right thing.
Yeah.
People tend to look further out. Well, I'm not seeing it that well, I'll look further out. Oh, great, then you're going to see it later. That's a good idea. Really? But, so given background, I tend to look in closer. For the high houses, which for the most part have clear sky backgrounds, I do tend to look further out.
Yeah.
Only because my peripheral vision can work better because there's no unobstructed view of the target.
Yeah.
But it's all about how the eyes work, and again, given the angle of target presentation and also the closeness. I mean, look at shots like high 206, the fastest shots on ski field. Most people think those shots are the most difficult shots. They're not any difficult than anything else. The thing on high 206 is you don't have time for recovery.
Yeah, it's got to happen. It's got to happen perfectly.
On the field, you can recover from a mistake.
Yeah.
High 206, there's no time to do that. So you better be looking in the right spot.
Yeah, everything's got to pan out.
Absolutely.
During the lockdown phase, is there anything that you could recommend that people can do at home to help them shooting?
That's a great question because I have a Facebook page for personally and my business, and I do a tip every once in a while at the end of the month, and I sent out something about a month ago, and it was probably the biggest post I've had. I got more hits on that post, but it's what to do in this COVID stage. I mean, hey, we're all locked down, we can't do anything, and I can't go to the gun club. I'm pissed off, but you can do a lot of stuff. You can work on your mental game, number one. And I do a lot of visualization. I do a lot of rehearsal. So you can shoot skeet in your mind. Unlike sporting clays, skeet's pretty stagnant. This will be my 48th season coming up. And you know what's great about the sport of skeet shooting? High 2 hadn't changed in 48 years. It's the same. So because we have a very stagnant sport, all the shots are known, you can actually work on your game at home. Okay, what am I going to do this? What am I going to do this? What am I going to do here? What am I going to do here? Work on your physical approach, work on your mental game, but also rehearse. And you know what's great about mental rehearsal is that, let me tell you, when I shoot skeet in my mind, I don't miss. I'm awesome, dude. So you're getting these positive imprints that Lanny talks about, and you're making your game better. And you can. There's so many other things in shooting, as you well know, that the average guy doesn't pay attention to. The average guy goes out to the club and shoots and thinks that practice. And yeah. I probably do more off the field than I do on the field.
Yeah.
What's up here?
No, I agree with that. Obviously in sporting clays, maintained or sustained lead is probably the least used and probably the least understood. With yourself, you understand it dramatically and have proven it very well. How did you and how do you teach it to your students to get that synchronization between the barrel and the bird where that gap can stay constant?
Well, that's a great question. So skeet, because everything's a known, is more about, and the way to shoot proper sustained lead is really about what you do before the target comes out. So to be able to shoot a good sustained lead, you better have a good hold point.
Yep.
If that gun's in the right spot, like on a high 206, you're not going to be able to recover from it. So the gun needs to be in the right spot. The eyes need to be in the right spot. And like you said 20 minutes ago, it's about reacting to that target out of the window. Not when you finally see it clearly, because none of us are going to see the target clearly until it's 15, 20 feet out of the window.
Yeah.
It's reacting to it leaving the window and watching that, what I call is seeing the flash, which is the target out of the window, and then watching that blur actually turn into a fine object. So it gets back to the eyes. It's watching the target from start to finish. When you do that and the gun's in the right spot and you're controlling the eyes correctly, sustained lead just kind of happens.
Right.
Because you're set up for it. And that really is probably, that's the key to skeet shooting, American skeet. It's probably to dig a little bit. Because, being a sporting guy, it's actually more true shotgunning. There's a lot more unknowns. There's no unknowns in skeet shooting. So American ski is kind of a surgical sport.
Yeah, definitely.
Which is why the scores are so high. But if you're presented with a surgical sport, my thinking is that your approach damn well better be surgical.
Yeah. Or otherwise you're going to look like a butcher.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, definitely. I think people are just interested in the mindset. So many people in this lockdown phase, it's like I said to them, I'll interview the best people in the world that I've got access to, but learn something from each of them. If it can't be technical, make it mental. But
Absolutely.
but take something away. Like, I don't shoot sustained lead, so I think it's to hear from somebody that does. Like, if they learn something, that's why I'm doing this. Is that everybody can take something away from everything else. On a skeet field, Todd, how much of your shooting is visual specific measured windows, and how much is timing?
Wow. A lot of it's timing, and I want to clarify that it's not spot. That's not spot shooting.
Yeah.
But it's timing given the control, and especially in doubles at 3, 4, and 5, where all the championships are decided. That's all timing. It's all about shot placement. So that's specific. But I don't think in terms of pictures, if that's where you're going, leads are the last thing I think about.
Okay.
Because that's embedded in me.
Yeah, that's been built in.
After 40 years, I know the leads. What I need to do is look at the target and focus on the target. My brain knows the right lead. And it's not as much. I want to be careful with the word timing. Because I'm not spot shooting.
Yeah.
My timing tends to be pretty specific. It means when I'm shooting well, when I'm doing what I should do, you're not going to see my shot placement change by a foot, one way or another.
Yeah.
But that's not my goal. That's a result
Of being perfect.
of working my process.
Yeah.
Of controlling the target out of the window, watching the target from start to finish. So I tend to be more constant because my execution is constant.
Superb.
And
Excellent.
that may be a goal, but it's not part of the process.
Can you just talk us through quickly? 6 or 7 people have asked it. Station 8. What's the best way of shooting high and low 8?
So every day I teach, I always tell people, Station 8 should not belong in a ski field. It's a trick shot. The only problem with Station 8, you have to know the trick. And most people make the mistake of shooting it like it's a skeet shot. Sustain lead, whatever, matching guns from your target speed, staying with that target for a period of time. And I don't do that. That's not actually correct. I do it for a very small period of time, but it's about the whole point and about looking at that target and going directly, because of the vision, going directly to the target and making the shot. It's a trick shot, and once you know the trick, it's a stupid shot. It's a waste of time. If you don't know the trick, it can be a bit of a nightmare.
So, book lessons with Todd. We've got about 6 or 7 minutes left before it cuts us off. What are your longest runs, Todd?
Wow.
So what I mean by a longest run is how many targets Todd shot from miss to miss. That's what we're discussing.
So, I don't know, a few years ago, I was about 1,900 straight with the 12 gauge. That was over a couple of seasons because I had a perfect season. And then I obviously had straight the season before and into the next season. So about 1,900 straight. I held a 410 long run at one point at just under 600. Wayne broke that. Funny story. It was actually Wayne's record. And I was shooting with him when I broke that record at 500 and whatever it was. And I thought to myself, there's only one guy on the planet that could break this record. Yeah, well, I was right.
But we are 1,900 straight over a few. I mean, that's, I love the skeet shooters in the UK. They're not a particular smart breed. They, they sit there and they say, my record's great. I shot 100 straight at Northampton in the morning and I did it again in the afternoon, Like, long runs. We're going to speak to Wayne or Todd to get a long run. That's where we're going to find out what a long run is. You've just had a brisk walk.
Yes,
That's not a long run.
I guess looking at it on those terms, one of my proudest moments is the 400 straights. So I'm the only guy to break 3 400s back to back. That's in successive weekends.
Wow.
It's been done back to back twice, but no one's done it 3 times. So that was a while ago. I broke 400, 400, 400. And years after that, I broke 400, 400. That was one of my 550s at the World Championships.
Wow.
So, yeah, that's a long run.
Dude, look, it's going to cut off. That was absolutely impressive. I'm going to be rude and ask if you don't mind coming back on another night, because we've not even got close to where we want to get to. Your brain.
I want to thank you so much for what you're doing. Bringing the shooters from around the world together, especially this weird time, is awesome. And thank you so much. And absolutely, I will do this anytime you ask, sir. Man,
you're guys. I hope you took lots from that. Todd, everyone's asking, what's your business Facebook page?
My Facebook page is Todd Bender. Also, my coaching is Todd Bender Performance.
There you go, Todd Bender. Todd Bender Performance. Follow that page, and Todd's graciously asked that he will definitely come back on. So we'll take him up on that. Todd, from me, I've always admired you. I flew around the world to watch you compete to see if I can learn anything.
That impressed me, sir.
You're a superstar of the sport, an idol of mine, and thank you so much for giving up your time, man.
Thank you for including me.
I'll speak to you soon.
Take care, my friend.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So we've not got long left. I've got to take off for a family quiz. I hope you enjoyed that. We'll definitely get Todd back on, because we didn't touch anywhere near the mental side or the technical side that we want to get into. But there's lots and lots that you could take from that. So I hope you enjoyed it. Tomorrow night's going to be the Russian night. We're going to bring in Vasily Mosin. So we're going to understand the Russian brutal training regime, Olympic bronze, world championship, and coaching Olympic athletes. So tomorrow night's going to be another truly, truly insightful night. So please join me tomorrow. Stay safe and take care.